First tailwheel flying at night was way less scary than expected due to awesome lights. You can see how effective these AeroLEDs were as they lit up the hangar on the way back from warming up with Dave before banging out some solo landings.
She's bright. It's kind of cheating, honestly. It doesn't feel like night with these lights.
Yeah, it's just day landings, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah?
Like, it's a night approach and then a day landing because the lights are insane. So he's gonna go out and do 5 by himself.
Power set, airspace live, pressure temperatures are good, and we're flying. Fast touch and go when you're solo, man.
And we've got a great example of why cheap lights can be a real problem.
My first in-flight issue was early on, and after getting my private pilot's license while flying a friend under some busy airspace, we had a comms failure that turned out to be from a light bulb.
And we're going to learn how that happened. This is another milestone for the RB14. We've got an awesome lighting package from AeroLEDs, and tonight we're testing them for our first night flight.
Yeah, this is my first time night flying in a long time.
It's a different thing.
And tailwheel.
Tailwheel at night is another different thing.
Yeah.
Before facing full dark conditions, I launched with Dave at dusk to warm up.
No reason not to use landing lights now either.
He's got a fair bit of experience flying tailwheel at night, but this will be my first time. We'd made the decision to wait until the airplane had 100 hours on it before night flying.
Oh, there's charging.
Yep, we're gonna pull some juice tonight.
I'm just gonna do a little turnaround for Thad to see us. We got everything's lit up now.
Yeah, everything's lit up.
It was cool that Thad was able to be here for this because I knew I wanted to intercut his emergency story into this one.
Look at that high visibility jacket.
Yeah, it's lit right up.
That's awesome.
Thad is a good friend of Dave and I. He made it to AirVenture for the first time last year and was a huge part of my crew. He's currently working on his tailwheel endorsement and training in the Chipmunk with Dave.
So we're out here at the hangar, and we've got 172 with a radio interference problem.
So we'll get back to Thad debugging a certified airplane throughout this episode. But what's cool is that the RB14 is experimental. There's so much great innovation going on in the builder community, such as the glare shield that was designed by Mike and his sister Laura.
You know what I like about this thing, actually? It doesn't shine on the avionics really.
Yeah,
it's like in my space.
I asked them to push it forward. The initial prototype was too far back, so it was hidden.
Yeah, this is perfect if I had like a piece of paper or something, yeah.
I'm actually using FlightChops for digital checklists, but I do have backup paper and 2 flashlights on board in case I need them.
Airspeed's live, pressure temperatures good.
Please share any thoughts in the comments about your night flying SOPs. This is obviously the first time this airplane has ever flown at night. And we're also sharing the very interesting process of Thad debugging the bad LEDs in the certified airplane and ultimately switching to AeroLEDs to solve the problem.
So I'm fairly green, I hadn't had any issues yet. There's a lot of traffic around. All of a sudden the radios just go to static. So I'm punching the squelch, and it's not that. I try some different frequencies. They're all static. So here I am thinking this radio kind of crapped out on me. Switch over to COM 2, and it's all static too on every frequency. So now I'm feeling really clever. I'm like, all right, well, something's going on with I don't know what, but I came prepared. I've got my nice little handheld 2-way radio here. Aren't I smart? So I turned this sucker on, and it's all static too on every frequency. And at that moment, like, my brain kind of reset, because that was the last thing I expected to happen, was to get static out of my handheld.
Gas undercarriage mixture, prop to go, switches, obscure, you're secure.
All secure.
So we'll get back to Thad's story, and I want to thank him for hanging out by himself to get all the footage of us landing. And I need to shout out CloudAhoy. I imported the Garmin panel data to extensively debrief my solo flight, which I'll share after a couple of the landings with Dave.
So VASIs say I'm high, but this feels good to me. Like,
this is fine.
Yeah, I don't need to be a
IFR. The VASIs are calibrated, or
IFR, yeah.
They're calibrated for 3 degrees incoming. Like,
yeah, so there it comes. So that's good.
Yeah, you're fine. Totally fine. Yeah, you're already lighting up the ground.
That's cool.
You're at 100 feet.
Oh yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, they're bright.
It's like daytime.
You're
man.
gonna touch early.
I got it. I just didn't want to flare high. Look at that.
I thought you were going for 3-point.
At night? I didn't think that was a good idea. We should have briefed it, but that was my plan.
We ended up working toward getting comfortable doing 3-pointers in the dark. And even when you're solo, you can brief yourself on things like whether or not to rely on the VASIs, and that depends on the ambient light and your familiarity with the local area. If you can stay oriented and you know you have a long enough runway, there's nothing wrong with flying a steeper approach. However, on a dark night at a new airport, it would be wise to accept the risk and fly a more shallow VASI profile. You also want to think about things like crosswind inputs after touchdown, but on a night like this with light winds, that was not an issue.
Windsor Tower, Foxtrot Charlie Golf Alpha, upwind, turning crosswind. We're looking to switch to 12 for the next one if we could.
Charlie Golf Alpha, wind 060 at 5, clear touch and go, runway 12.
Clear touch, go 12, Charlie Golf Alpha.
With the wind being so light, we made the runway switch so that Thad could get some better angles from his limited vantage point on the ramp.
So because this interference showed up when we turned on and off the nav light circuit, we knew it had to be related to a light bulb. We could have just pulled all the light bulbs and tested them individually, but you know, you got to justify that oscilloscope purchase. We are going to build an E and H field probe set so that we can try to localize some radio interference on a Cessna 172. When we looked at the wingtip, when we looked at the nav light, the noise signal we were seeing wasn't nearly as strong as what we were expecting, and we found out why. So that's not even an LED fitting, but I think that there was noise that was getting carried through the wiring that I was picking up over there. One of my passion areas in electronics is understanding switch mode power supplies. It's like, okay, there's got to be an LED light bulb in there somewhere with a power converter that's spamming out a bunch of high frequency noise. The tail lamp is an LED. Yeah, we see two big humps on the frequency domains, and that's kind of right in that band where we're trying to talk. We're trying to talk to each other in the air. So I've got that lamp here. It's a LED retrofit fixture. This goes into an original housing, the light fixture that was already on the airplane, which means that the LEDs and the driver for the LEDs, that's a DC to DC converter that brings the voltage down from 24 to 28 volts down to whatever. Usually a white LED is going to be around 3.5 to 3.7 volts. So there's conversion going on in there. And it's that converter I look for there's noise in a system, because the converter's got a switching circuit to bring that voltage down. It's turning the power on and off very quickly. And that switching is what can create the noise and interfere with the radios. Now we're just going to light the lamp here and see what the reaction is. Oh, look at that. So there we go. This lamp is not going to interfere with my radios again. Airplane. It's a bright airplane.
Alright, so I'm going to go for a 3-pointer.
Yep.
Bit of a crosswind. I'm needing to slip more than I was last time.
I've noticed it, yeah. The lights are lighting it up now very, very effectively.
I can see the center line already.
Yeah, you're a little left of it. Close the throttle. A little high. Oh, nice, actually. Really good.
Thanks. But I feel better about it than I thought I would. It doesn't hurt that we have such a wide runway here, but it lights it up, man. It's like there's no black hole effect with these lights.
Yeah, they're good, no doubt.
Alright, you want to take it for one?
Yeah, sure.
You got it?
I have control.
This is one of the things we wanted to test as a 2 crew.
So middle one is switches. This one is avionics. That's like...
Yeah, we can turn them down even more now.
That's all the way down. That is a bit much, eh?
Well, all the way down won't be a bit much in the pitch black in the county, but...
Something like that. That's like 25%.
Another thing I wanted to do as a 2 crew was handheld shoot some iPhone footage of the approach, because I didn't have a camera mounted facing forward, to capture how far out the lights became effective.
I'm gonna go for the 3-pointer.
That's a 150-foot wide runway being totally lit up, so no problems there. And of course, Dave's landing was perfect, so let's go debrief a couple of my solo landings. I reset the cameras, and Dave and Thad went home. This footage is really dark, so I'm glad I've got the CloudAhoy debrief to lean on, and I highly recommend checking this out.
Check 1, 2. Good God, is it dark? Find me yellow 9s.
Charlie Golf Alpha ground, you can squawk 1200 since the tower will be closed in about 9 minutes, and just be advised the lights are RCAL, your control. I turned them on about 2 minutes ago.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks, Charlie Golf Alpha.
At that moment, I was reminded of an older video I made back in 2014. This footage is from a new private pilot who had a complete electrical failure at night. Here's a bit of the voiceover from the original video right before the inevitable happens. But let's say at this point he did think to grab his handheld out of his flight bag. Are the batteries charged? Are the frequencies tuned? But at this point he's not really thinking about that. He's got the runway made, it's lit beautifully, he can see it, he's gonna make it, it's all good. What are the odds that those lights are gonna shut down on him short final?
Oh thanks, that's good. Turn that light off.
And just remind me, they time out in like 10 minutes or half an hour, or what is it?
I believe it's 15 minutes as far as I know.
And then it's 5 button pushes about 1 second apart to get them back on?
Yeah, so you can do 3 button pushes for low intensity, 5 button pushes for medium, and 7 for high intensity.
Okay, roger. So what are they set to now?
They're currently on medium.
Okay, yeah, that's great the way they are.
I'm proud to have been able to contribute some content to the TFP Ground School app with this related scenario.
Make sure to go prop this full fine.
I love for-flight checklists.
Time is 10:26.
Having a mounted backlit checklist at night definitely made things easier.
Windsor Tower, Charlie Golf Alpha, holding short 07, ready to go.
Foxtrot Charlie Golf Alpha, Windsor Tower, left-hand circuits, wind 060 at 5, cleared takeoff runway 07.
Clear takeoff 07 for left circuit, Charlie Golf Alpha.
And these visual as well as audible pop-ups in for-flight are super handy, especially again at night for additional situational awareness to be sure you're entering the correct runway. I've got them set to go to my headset, but it's not being recorded on the intercom.
Hold this line right around. This is where you really want to make sure you clarify that you're on the right runway with all the information you can get. Okay, there's the center line. Okay, 07 in synthetic vision, 07 on my heading indicator, and I can't see pavement lines. So I'm going to believe that I'm on 07. Pump is on.
At this point, I realized I wanted to manually put for-flight back into map mode, and I also had the right side of the G3X in map mode, but it was split screen from when Dave was there, so I should have really full screened that. And I wasn't making use of the GTN 750 at all for this flight.
Power is set, temperatures and pressures are good, airspeed's alive.
The score for this first one was pretty good, but I can do better.
500.
Full flap selected, coming down.
I'll leave this first approach uncut full screen because damn that view. And for the last one, I'll share it split screen with the CloudAhoy debrief side by side.
Oh, bird. What are you flying at night for? Flap selected, flaps coming up. Power is set, temperature pressures are good, airspeed is obviously alive. That's one.
I told the team at AeroLEDs about Thad's emergency and they were quick to help us find the correct replacement. We ended up going with the Pulsar NSP and the Suntail.
I'm not sure that this is a failure mode a lot of pilots would think of right away. I know quite a bit about LED lighting and power supplies, and it didn't occur to me while I was in the air. What happened to light bulbs such that they can create interference with radios? LED light bulbs have very complex power supply circuits that, by the nature of how they work, will interfere with radios. And they need to have a bunch of mitigations in the design to ensure that they don't interfere with radios. And so that design needs to be thought through really well. And the manufacturing process has to be really consistent, using high quality components to make sure that every product that comes off the line is not going to interfere with radios. And that contributes, a big part to you get what you pay for and the quality sometimes.
All stations, the Windsor control tower is now closed. Make all calls on mandatory frequency 124.7.
Have a good night. Thanks for the help.
Charlie Golf Alpha, Roger, thank you. And again, lights are your control by AeroShell. Have a good night.
Thanks for the help. Have a good night. Windsor traffic, Charlie Golf Alpha, left downwind, 07, touch and go, Windsor.
It suddenly felt pretty lonely, and I looked over my shoulder to confirm where I was at, and I could not see the airfield. And this was just 2 minutes after that call from the tower letting me know that he was close.
The lights were off.
But obviously more than 10 minutes since he had set the lights to pilot controlled. So it's probably a good idea to reset the lights anytime you're about to turn base.
Like cheat code with the iPad, using the old breadcrumbs, but anyways, I know where I'm at.
I improved as I did 6, here's the last one.
That's what I'm talking about, 1600, 95, 13 inches. That's some good pattern settings. Gas undercarriage, mixture prop, switches, I'm secure, and it's just me.
On top of the track log, I have all the data from the PFD thanks to the Garmin panel.
500.
500.
Perfect. Full flap selected, coming down.
So yeah, I can't say enough about the value of debriefing to this level of detail with CloudAhoy.
Gas undercarriage, mixture prop, switches, I'm secure. Aiming for a 3-point.
The scoring system is based on parameters that they're constantly evolving and refining. And of course, you can set a custom aircraft profile to exactly match what you're flying.
Back on the center line. Take it. Flap selected coming up. Okay, now I gotta find a taxiway. Let's turn off these strobes.
So this one covered a lot. There's several links in the description, and please visit FlightChops.com for more info.
This is where the diagram is pretty freaking handy because I can't see anything. I guess I can get this up too. Sharp turn onto Foxtrot, following the yellow line. There it is. And safe taxi confirms that for me. Flap selected, flaps coming up, fuel pump off. And there's the hold short. Windsor traffic, Charlie Golf Alpha, down and clear of 07. Taxiing Foxtrot, going to be crossing 30 shortly.
And as always, until next time, keep your flight chops sharp.
I think I'm going to go fly it right now.